For those of you who don't know, this is Riley. Ugh, she's technically my human child that hates me because I make her look, but it's okay. She just turned 9 months and she's completely housebroken, meaning I can finally have the vanity set of my dreams. She hates me, can you tell? You don't like this, right? You don't like being in the most awkward position? Meaning. Let me put her down. Bye. Since Riley is completely housebroken, we no longer need her crate, which is like 5 times her size and taking up a lot of her room in our apartment, meaning I can finally have the vanity set of my dreams. I looked online and these vanity mirrors can range from like $300 to $500 to even like $800, and I figured why not just build one because it seemed pretty simple. Unfortunately, I don't have footage of us actually building the frame part of the mirror, and I deleted a lot of the drilling portions accidentally from my Nikon, and I was really mad because I'm an idiot. Took Riley to the dog park, stuff got out of hand, and I accidentally deleted some videos. But I can actually explain to you how the frame is built with 5 pieces of wood using the top of a shoebox, because the shape of the mirror and the frame itself is a rectangular prism, but without like the back part. So it's literally 5 pieces of wood, and the front part is just one whole piece of wood that you'll be gluing the mirror on, and you just need to make sure this piece of wood that you're using for the front of the mirror slash frame is big enough so it'll fit your mirror here. Just need to make sure that the front piece of wood is big enough so it can fit your mirror, like so. Sorry, it's really ugly. Like that. And then you'll also need enough room to fit bath bars, of course, you know, that hold the lights. Isn't this beautiful? That hold the lights, and then the 4 pieces of wood that make up the frame to give it more dimension so you can lay flat on your wall, because you're gonna have a bunch of electrical wires and bath bars behind that frame. That'll be thick. You need to make sure that fits all of that behind this front piece of wood. And that's basically it. If you have any more questions about like the dimensions, or if you want this beautiful drawing, you can just let me know. That being said, we can just move on to the electrical part, which I find a little bit more complicated than just putting some pieces of wood together. So you'll need some light bulbs, a remodeling box and light switch, which is optional, various sized bath bars, which are actually pretty cheap at Home Depot, measuring tape, some mirror glue, wire nuts, sandpaper, wire cutters, spray paint or regular paint, and extra wiring. So here you can actually see the shape of the frame instead of just a shoe lid box. Once you've finished building it, you need to drill holes the size of the light screws that'll be poking through from the back. We marked each drilling spot by measuring the distance between the middle of 2 light screws. You'll also want to cut a space where the remodeling box will be placed if you plan on putting a light switch or dimmer on the frame. So this is how most bath bars look once you've popped off the tacky frame and securing ring covers off of it. We chose to ground each bath bar, and in order to do this, we needed to reverse the way each ground screw on the bath bar was originally facing, just like we do here. Once all the bath bars are in place with all the ground screws facing the right way, simply secure each bath bar by placing the securing ring covers back in its original place. Now for the actual wiring part. Cut a piece of wire that'll be long enough to reach one bath bar to the next. Using a utility knife or wire cutter, expose the 3 wires within it at each end. Once that's done, you'll be able to see 3 different wires, a black, white, and ground wire. Strip the ends of the black and white wire just like this, and repeat the process on the other side. Starting with the bath bar furthest from the light switch or dimmer, attach one of the white wires you just stripped with the white wire from the bath bar using a wire nut. And then attach the black wire you just stripped with the black wire from the bath bar with a wire nut as well. Once that's done, just loop the ground wire around the ground screw and screw it into place. Yes! Now to make our lives a little bit easier, we went ahead and cut and stripped all of the wires we'll need to complete the rest of the circuit instead of doing it one by one like we did for the first bath bar. So just cut open the wire to expose them and then strip them like we showed you previously in this video. So what differs the second bath bar from the first one is that you'll actually be tying 3 wires together instead of 2. You have 1 wire coming in from the first bath bar, a second wire from the current bath bar you're working at, and a third wire that'll be attaching to the next bath bar in line. Just like before, all the black wires get twisted together with a wire net, and all the white wires get twisted together with a wire net as well. Although it isn't necessary to ground each bath bar, we decided to anyway by only twisting 2 ground wires together with a wire net, and then looping and securing the third one around the ground screw. Yas, times 2! Just keep on repeating this wiring process over and over again, and it should look a little something like this. Keep in mind that we are making an unpolarized parallel circuit, meaning it doesn't have any negative or positive charges. Just be consistent with the colors that you're attaching together. Simply pop in the remodeling box into the hole you previously drilled for it and screw it into place. So this part can be more tricky than it really is. On a GFCI switch, there is a load side and a terminal side. Here we're connecting the wires from the last bath bar to the load side of the switch, meaning that is where the power will be going out towards the bath bars. You can determine the load in line side by where the ground screw is because the line side, where the power is coming in, is the side closest to the ground screw on the switch. So next we screw in the ground wire from the last bath bar and the ground wire from the wire that'll be plugging into the wall just like this. Like I said before, this step is optional, but it's just a lot more convenient to have a light switch at the side of your mirror instead of having it to physically unplug and plug the whole thing every time you use it. Forgive us, but we messed up on this part and fixed it off camera. You're still going to connect the black and white wires from the outlet plug to the line side of the GFCI switch like we did here, but in reverse. The white wire should be connected to the screw that is closest to the ground screw, and the black wire should be connected to where we have the white wire placed in this video. If this part is still unclear, feel free to ask me any questions you guys might have. Finally, so now that all the wiring is done, just carefully shove everything back into the frame through the remodeling box and screw the GFCI switch into place. We covered the switch with a GFCI frame. I personally didn't care about the color scheme since it wasn't going to show anyway. The switch is on the side of the mirror, but if you guys want to go with white, you could totally do that. Alrighty, this is how everything should look when you're completely done with the wiring portion. You can see how all the bath bars connect with one another, how the last bath bar connects to the GFCI switch, and lastly, how the wall plug wire connects to the switch as well. When gluing the mirror, make sure you don't put any glue too close to the edge or else it'll seep out, and leave it to set overnight with some added weight. Since the piece of wood we used for the front was pretty thick, we weren't sure if the securing ring covers at the front would be strong enough to hold the bath bars. So just to be safe, we decided to physically screw each bath bar into the wood. Just make sure the length of the screw that you use won't poke out in the front. Now you can finally screw in all of your light bulbs. We used 7-watt LED daylight bulbs. Although they might be more pricey, they're energy efficient and won't get too hot when left on for long periods of time, which is perfect for getting ready in my opinion. Now it's time to cross your fingers, plug it in, and hope that it works. Flip that switch and...
I'm blind!
Yeah.
It's only temporary, but